I'm Margie Remris Davis with Crystal Clear Cashflow, creator of the fast and easy way to QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor Certification. Now, every day I get inundated with questions all about the ProAdvisor Certification test. And so what I've decided to do is make one video. This is going to be a long video, but one video covering all of the questions that you may have about the test, as well as some additional tips that you need to know to be successful and get that certification. So I'm going to hop over now to a slideshow presentation to be able to go over all of these little details. And what I'm going to do is in the description below, I'll put the timestamp for each of the questions and any links that I refer to. So I will see you over there on the other side. Okay, team, let's go ahead and dive into everything you ever wanted to know about QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor Certification 2022 version. So first up, some frequently asked questions. And the number one most important question is ProAdvisor certification worth it? Now, most people they ask this question because they have started the free training that Intuit provides. We'll talk more about that free training later. But they've dived in and it's so overwhelming to them. There's so much to know. Seems to take so much time. They're like, should I even spend my time doing this? Is this really going to have an effect on my business? And the answer, of course, is yes. So why is it that you should spend your time getting this certification? Well, the first thing is, by doing the certification, you learn the ins and outs of QuickBooks Online. Now, you can learn QuickBooks Online on the job, and maybe you have already, but chances are the only things that you know from being on the job or playing with it in other situations are the things that have come up for those specific tasks or those situations. What doing the ProAdvisor training does is it exposes you to ideas, concepts, features that you would not otherwise learn about. And that makes you more valuable. It means that you can provide more services to future clients, and it means you can charge more for your services because you know more. The other thing is that it gives you bragging rights. Once you have that ProAdvisor certification, you get a badge, and you can put that badge everywhere. You can put it in your emails that you're a ProAdvisor. You can put it on your business cards that you're a ProAdvisor. You can put it on your website that you're a ProAdvisor. In fact, I know a woman who, right after she got her certification, she attended a networking meeting. And the only thing that she could say at that time when people asked her what she did was she said, I'm a certified QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor. And she got her very first client just using those words. Everybody knows what QuickBooks is. And if you say you are a certified ProAdvisor, then it means something. And she got her very first clients. Other people, I just heard a story about someone like in line at a bank or something, and they just happened to mention that they were a QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor, and somebody asked for their business card. So yes, absolutely. It gives you bragging rights. The other thing that it does that's super powerful, it is because when you have your ProAdvisor certification, you can get listed in the ProAdvisor directory. And this is super valuable because you can not only show off, you can collect reviews, and you can collect leads. So here's an example. Here is my ProAdvisor profile. And you'll notice here I have 34 reviews. I've got 5 stars there. People can scroll down. They can see how awesome and amazing I am. And then if they like me, they can actually send me a message right from the ProAdvisor certification pay or the Find a ProAdvisor page. So it's super, it's everything that you need really to run your business is on this. If you don't have a website, you can use this as your website because it tells them everything they need to know about you, and it provides them with a way to contact you. So the ProAdvisor link that they give you is like super, super long. So you wouldn't want to give somebody that, obviously, as your website. But you can get a domain. And in my example here, I have crystalclearcashflow.com, and I created a little quick link that's just /ProAdvisor to take people directly to my ProAdvisor certification if I'm talking to somebody. Don't ask me how to do it. It's super simple. You can ask somebody else how to set up a link like this. You just use a redirect and it sends you there. You could even have your actual domain name just go directly there, or you could put it on LinkedIn, whatever. You could use this if you want to until you get started. You can use this as your website. So super, super valuable to get that ProAdvisor certification for sure. And then what's so great is once you're listed on there, Intuit will actually advertise your business for you. It is in Intuit's best interest that you as a ProAdvisor get as much business as possible because they want people using their software. And so they spend money promoting that Find an Accountant website that exposes people to all of their ProAdvisors. I know people who have built their entire business or almost their entire business just on leads that they've gotten from that ProAdvisor website, and they are not promoting it. Intuit is promoting it. So absolutely, yes, positively get that ProAdvisor certification. Now, the ProAdvisor certification is only available through QBOA. So that leads us to our next question is, what is QBOA and how is it different than regular QuickBooks Online? So QBOA, it stands for QuickBooks Online Accountant, and it is basically your accountant version of QBO, okay? So you have, as an accountant, you have your version, which is this special accountant version, and then there are clients that have their regular QuickBooks Online version, and then what they do is they can add you as the accountant on their books. And then when you get that email and confirm, then when that happens, you can then view into the books of the client. So that's what makes the QBOA version special, is it allows you to peer into the books of the small business owners, right? So that you can then do their books for them. And the beauty is that you can do it over and over and over again. You can build your business by peering into lots of different client QuickBooks Online version. Now, the QuickBooks Online Accountant version is free, which is a huge benefit because the clients have to pay for their subscriptions, but we get it for free. So the next question is, how do I sign up? How do I get my free QBOA Accountant account? Well, the link to get there is a little bit long, so I made you a little quick link. Just go to www.fastandeasyqbo.com/free QBOA. And when you do that, you're going to get to a page that looks like this, and you will click this sign up for free button, okay? And then you'll just follow the prompts to sign up for your free account. There are, however, a few things to keep in mind when you do this. First of all, it's going to ask you for an email address, and you want to make sure that that is a professional email address, okay? This is the email address that you are going to be giving to clients. So I know of one bookkeeper who uses an email address that she set up in junior high school, and it's kind of goofy. It's kind of a goofy email address, not super professional. So you want to make sure that this is an email address that you're going to be comfortable giving to clients, rather than something goofy that you have for fun. The other thing is, When it asks you for a phone number, you want to make sure that you put in a phone number that can receive texts, so not a landline. This is because they use two-factor authentication. I'm sure you've done this with lots of other companies, where if you get locked out or to verify when you're on a new device, they'll send you a text to confirm. So make sure that you use a phone number that can receive texts. It will also ask you for your company name. Don't worry about that. If you don't have a company yet, if you're just getting started, if you don't know what it is, just put in ABC Company or your name or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's easy to change the company name later. It is not easy to change that email address later. So that's why you want to make sure that from the get-go, you use that professional email address. Now, I mentioned that once you have your QBOA account, Intuit provides some free ProAdvisor training. So the next question might be, how do I access that free ProAdvisor training? And here's what you're going to do. So when you log in to your ProAdvisor account, you're going to select ProAdvisor on the left-hand side, and then you're going to select training, and then you're going to scroll down to the various trainings that you are looking for, and they have bunches and bunches. Only a couple of them have certifications attached, but there's lots of training that they provide for you as accountants and bookkeepers. This one that I've circled right here, this is the first level certification, and you'll notice that there are both self-paced training. So if you click that, you're going to go into different modules and lessons and learn the material that you need to be able to pass that certification test. Or you can sign up for a webinar. You can either go to a pre-recorded webinar, or you can attend live webinars put on by Intuit. So that's how you access the training. Now, once you're in the training, then you will want to practice how to use all of the different features. And the great thing is that Intuit provides us with a sample company that allows you to practice. And so our next question is, what is the sample company and how do I access it? So this sample company is a fully populated QBO account that is there so that you can take a test drive and get a feel for how QBO works. There are 3 versions available. The first is a QBOA version. The QBOA version is as if you are an accountant. Okay, so you are looking at somebody else's books in the same way that you're going to do that as your profession. But they also have 2 other versions that are from the perspective of the client. One is called QBO Plus and one is called QBO Advanced. And these are different subscription levels within QuickBooks Online. And the reason they have these set up is so that people who are contemplating whether they want to start using QBO have a sandbox, have somebody say, well, if I decided to use QBO for my business, what would it look like? And Advanced has more features than Plus, and so you can look at the 2 different versions, compare and contrast, decide which one you want. So those 2 versions, I've linked them in the description below how to get to them, but again, those are from the perspective of the client. The QBOA version you have to get to from within your QBOA account, and that is you looking into somebody else's books. So once you are in your QBOA account, you're going to click this, what we call the gear icon up in the upper right hand corner. You're going to become very familiar with this gear icon. And then right here where it says sample company, you're going to select that. And you'll get this little warning message, because when you open the sample company, you are leaving your QBOA account, and now you're just in the sample environment, and that's important for you to remember. It's important for you to remember for the test too, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, so once you click continue and you're in there, you are in Craig's Design and Landscaping Services, and Craig is going to become your best friend. You are going to know everything there is to know about Craig and his business and what he sells, because Craig is our business owner that we are providing accounting services to. You can tell that you're in as the accountant. One of the ways is because you have this, what we call the accountant toolbox up at the top, which has some features that are only available to accountant users. So if you are in one of the other two versions that I have linked below, then you won't see this accountant tools up there. Speaking of description and things below, if you would like a copy of all of these instructions on how to get your free QBOA account and how to access the sample company, like all of that stuff, you can get a printout version, an ebook version of this video, everything you ever wanted to know about QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor Certification. The link is in the description below. All right, so as I mentioned, Intuit is just super nice to provide this sample company for us, right? And I always say it's a gift, but that means that we are at Intuit's mercy with how the sample company behaves. And so when you're in the sample company, there are just a few things that you need to be aware of going in, okay? First of all, it's not designed to be comprehensive. So because of that, you need to be prepared for some features to be different than they are in the real world or even completely unavailable. The opposite is true too. Sometimes things are in the sample, like the new stuff is in the sample company and you won't see it in real life yet. But that happens less often. More often, the sample company lags behind the features that we have in real life, the new things that come out. So just be prepared for that. The other thing you need to be prepared for is it is designed for absolute beginners. Okay, I mentioned that the client view gives business owners an opportunity to play around to see what it would be like if they decided to get QBO. Well, what that means is that that really the sample company is a sales tool. It's designed to sell you on QBO. It's not just there for fun. So because of that, you're going to see pop-ups all over the place. Sometimes you will, the screen will gray out and you'll have to refresh the screen because they're trying to show you all of the different features. And you won't see those things in real life, but as you're in the sample company, you will. So just be aware. Again, just be aware that these things are in the sample company. And then the final thing you need to be aware of is that the sample company will refresh when you log out or close the window. So what that means is you can't save your work. So if you go in and you reconcile a bank account, for example, then the next time you come in, that bank account won't be reconciled anymore. If you create an invoice and then later you want to go in and mark that invoice, paid, then the invoice won't be there anymore because you can't, it refreshes every night. So just another thing to be aware of. So you have your training, you have your sample company. Now it's time for you to take the test. So the next obvious question is, well, where do I take the test? Where is it? And the test is actually inside your QBOA account. And the way that you get to it, again, is from the ProAdvisor menu on the left-hand side. You're going to, again, go to training. Now, before, we had to scroll down to get to the actual training. All of the certification tests this year, they have put up at the top. So this section right here where it says QuickBooks Online Certification Prep, those are the actual tests. So the first one that you want is the one here that says QuickBooks Online Certification. That's the basic level test, or what they call the core certification. Right here, you will go to take exam. You'll notice real quick before we click that button that underneath it there's another take exam. That's for the advanced certification, but it's locked because you can't take the advanced exam until you have taken the regular basic exam, and that's true for payroll too. They now have a payroll certification. You can't take it until you have passed your basic level certification. So once you are inside that basic level certification, you'll notice that the exam is split up into 5 parts. And so the next question might be, and I should point out too that each part takes roughly 40 minutes. And so the next question might be, do I have to take the entire test in one sitting? And the answer is absolutely not. In fact, not only do you have to, we actually don't recommend that you do it because it's just a lot of information. It's a lot of information. If you took it one after the other, that would be 4 hours of just sitting there taking tests. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself through that. There's too much to remember. So we actually recommend that you take the test one section at a time, that you study and then you take the first test and you study more and then you take the second test. You will notice in the training that there are more modules, more training modules than there are section tests. But the test is chronological. So the training, the first couple of modules in the training will be in the first section test. The next couple of modules, it's not exact, but the next group of modules, training modules, will be on the next section test. So you can study a little bit and then take the test. Now, you don't have to take the entire test in one sitting, but you do need to finish one section in one sitting. Okay, so if you start that one section, then you need to make sure that you can finish it and submit it, or your progress will be lost. Okay. So that leads us to the next question, which is the test timed? And the answer to that is no. You can take as long as you need for each test. I mentioned previously that each test is about 40 minutes. But you know what? Sometimes people take longer than that. You may be a super slow test taker, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with being thorough. So take as long as you need. Don't stress out about it. However, your login will time out. So the test itself is not timed. You're not going to time out of the test, but your login will time out. And so it's a really good idea to set your inactivity timeout before you get started on the test. And the way you do that is, again, don't forget, you can get a copy of these instructions down in the bottom. There's a link there to get a copy of this ebook where I go over all these instructions. But inside your QBOA account, again, that gear icon, you're going to hit Company Settings. And then here, there are a number of tabs. You're going to click the Advanced tab. You're going to scroll down to this section that says Other Preferences. And you'll notice that there is an item there that says Sign Me Out if inactive for, and then a drop down that you can select how long you want to be logged in, and you want to set it to the max, which is 3 hours. So then you just hit save and then you hit done. All right, so once you have completed the test, the next question everyone wants to know is, when do I get my results? And the good news is that you get your results instantly. The bad news is that you have to finish all 5 sections first. So if there were one question that my support team gets over and over is, I submitted section 1, where are my results? And so you have to do all 5 sections, submit them, and then instantly once you do that, it'll show you your score. The results will show you your percentage for each section, and you must get at least 80% on each section to pass. Now, if you do not pass a section, they will not tell you which questions you missed, okay? They will only tell you what topics you need to brush up on. This is another huge question. Everyone wants to know, well, which question was it? And it's very annoying, I know, but they don't tell you which question you missed, just the topics. And then the next time you take the test, you're going to get different questions. So it's not even helpful to go back and review those questions again. So then what happens if you don't pass? And do you have to retake the whole thing? That's the next question. So if you don't pass any single section, okay, so again, it requires 80%. So which means that for each section you can get 3 wrong usually. So if you get 4 wrong, that means you didn't pass. And you can retake that section 2 more times. And you only have to retake the sections that you didn't pass. So you retake that section 2 more times, and if you still don't pass, so if you fail 3 times, then you will be locked out from trying again for 60 days. And they will give you the date. They'll say you are locked out. You can try again on such and such a date. Okay? All right, so that is my frequently asked questions. So let's talk some additional tips to help you get through the test. Okay? The first thing that you need to know is that this is an open book test. I know it's kind of obvious that it's an open book test since you're just sitting there at your computer and you have everything at your fingertips, but still some people are super honest and they still okay, well, I know I could look something up, but I want to be super honest and I want to not look it up. Don't worry about that. It is an open book test and you are free to use all of the resources you have available. So let's talk about some of those resources. First of all, you can test the answers in the sample company. This is probably, and I think I'm going to make another video just about this topic, but this is my number 1 tip for passing the ProAdvisor test is test it, test it, test it. So many of the questions are keystroke questions. They're just, how do you do such and such a feature? And the answer is click here, and then click here. And those questions, all you have to do is go to the sample company. You don't have to remember it. You just go to the sample company and click here, click there, and confirm that the answer that you have matches what's on the test. Like that, it's really that simple. But if you're going to use the sample company, which I highly recommend that you do, use the sample company while you are taking the test, there are a couple of things to be aware of. First of all, I mentioned previously that if you load the sample company while you are taking the test, you are going to get logged out of your QBOA account. Okay, so that means you will lose your test if you load the sample company at the same time that you're taking the test. Therefore, don't do it. Don't do it using the instructions that I provided before. That's just for when you're practicing. When you're actually taking the test, you want to do one of these 2 things. First, one option is to use a different browser. And this is what I do personally, is that I do my real work in Google Chrome. And then when I need to test something in the sample company, I use Safari because I'm a Mac girl. And so that's what I do. However, Intuit specifically says that they don't recommend using 2 different browsers. I don't know why, but that's what they said. What they recommend that you do is to use an incognito or a private window for the sample company. Now, to do that, you have to load the sample company first in an incognito private window, log in, get to their, whatever, and then in your regular window, log into your QBOA account, and that way they don't conflict. Now, I can't provide any kind of technical support on how to do all of this. I just recommend that you practice it and you make sure that you know how to have the sample company open in another browser, in a private window, even on another device maybe, something so that you can have the sample company and the test at the same time, because it's really crucial that you do that. So just test it. Ask your, 12-year-old nephew, just make sure that you can do it before the test. All right. So the first thing you can do is you can test it in the sample company. The other thing that you can do is you can go back to the Intuit training. Again, you would have to have this in a different window than while you're in the test, because you don't want to lose the test. But you can go back to the different sections, and what I would recommend that you do is you create an outline for yourself of the training so that you can go back to find where that is in the Intuit training. Now, I mentioned the test is in chronological order with the training, so that makes it a little bit easier. But still, if you want to find the subject matter, then it's best if you have an outline so you can go to it quickly. Another thing is don't trust Google. I mean, you can type the question into Google and see what other people say. But don't trust it, because I have seen so much bad advice. I have seen so much bad advice on Google. People just say, well, this is what I answered. That doesn't mean that's the correct answer, or people fight over what the correct answer is, or don't trust Google. Don't trust Google. The other thing is, do not post questions in Facebook groups. So that's super tempting too. And I know that there are some Facebook groups that are dedicated to helping you pass the test. It's similar to Google, for one, in that a lot of times they don't actually know the answer. And number 2 is that it is strictly against Intuit policy to discuss the test in a group setting. So you can have all your resources available, but discussing them in groups, posting the questions online for people to see is just not, it's not ethical. So don't post the questions in Facebook groups. If you are truly confused about a topic, ask about the topic, ask about the concept, but don't ask about the specific question. Okay. Now, I mentioned previously that for each section that you're taking of the test, you have 3 tries to pass, but that is only if you submit. So if you are taking the exam and you feel unprepared, or Johnny breaks his leg, or, whatever, something happens, and you can exit the exam, and the way that you do that is all of the pages have this little leave exam link, and it'll give you a warning, of course, but you can leave the exam at any time, and there is no penalty. So it doesn't count against you. It's not one of your 3 tries. The 3 tries are only if you actually submit that section. So don't stress about it if something happens and you have to leave, including if you are going through the Intuit material, then you start to take the test and you feel unprepared for it. Maybe you don't remember how to get there or whatever. Just leave the exam. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. On the test, there are 3 different question types. One type is radio buttons. When you see a radio button, that means that there is only one correct answer. New this year, they've introduced drop downs, and if you have drop downs, you have to complete all of them before moving on to the next question. And then the third type are checkboxes. Now, checkboxes mean that there are multiple correct answers. Unfortunately, they don't always tell you how many are correct. A lot of times they do. They'll say, which two of the following, whatever. But sometimes they'll just say, select all that apply, and then you don't know. And here's the thing, is that they do not prevent you from having the wrong number of answers. So they used to do this in the past. Last year they changed it, and that makes it kind of tricky, and you have to be very, very careful in what you're doing. So let me describe to you what I mean by that. So here's an example where the question says, what two types of blah, 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 okay? You'll notice it also says select all that apply, but in this case, it did say that there are two correct answers here. And you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner, the next button is grayed out, okay? That means you haven't answered the question yet. Well, once you select one checkbox, even though it says that there are two, that next button becomes green. And so you could accidentally only give one answer, and then that would make it wrong. The same is true is if there are three checkboxes. If you have one or three or whatever, it does not have to match the number that is in the question. And so when you're taking the test, you want to, especially for these types of questions, double check the number of answers they're looking for and how many checkboxes you have. So that is huge. All right, so those are all of my tips and tricks on the test and frequently asked questions. Let's talk about how you can get help for getting your certification. Now, if you are finding the free Intuit training confusing and time-consuming, or if you're worried about getting locked out and unable to move forward for 60 days, then you can visit my training programs at fastandeasyqbo.com. All of my training programs are fast, easy, crystal clear, and guaranteed. So let me talk about what each of these things are. Okay, so first of all, it's fast. I mentioned that the Intuit training doesn't line up exactly with the section tests. So you kind of have to guess which subjects are going to be on each test. With my training, you don't have to guess because we teach you per section test. So everything that's covered on section 1, that's what's going to be in section 1 of my training. The Intuit training, if you have dived into it before, then you'll notice that there is a lot of reading and there is a lot of just so much information to absorb. One of the reasons that I created Fast and Easy QBO is that I personally am not a good reader. I just don't learn very well from reading. And so when I got my certification, I was just so overwhelmed because there was just so much reading, and I learned so much better by hearing, by videos, and by hands-on. And so we've created a course that allows you to get your certification in about 4 hours. Now that's just the training. It's not the test, because the test itself takes about 4 hours. But you can get through all of the materials. We broke it down so that it's super easy. Every lesson, there are about each module has roughly 10 lessons. lessons, 10, 12, something like that. They're super short. You just follow along. We have a workbook, we have exercises, we have quizzes. You're just going to follow along for each section and then take the test. It's super easy, super fast. I am passionate. There's a reason that I named my company Crystal Clear Cash Flow because I am passionate about making things crystal clear. So you're going to have graphics, you're going to have easy explanations, you're going to have exercises to solidify the concepts, and we're teaching them in the way that you need to understand them for the test. Okay, it's very specific to making sure that you can speak the language of Intuit so that you can understand the language when you're tested on it. And you have the option to get one-on-one coaching with me. And for anyone who gets the one-on-one coaching, we guarantee that you will get your certification or your money back. Now, lots and lots and lots and lots of people. We have close to 2,000 students at this point, and most of them take the training and get their certification without coaching from me. But if you are the type of person who struggles with super bad test anxiety, if you are not a native English speaker, if you just know that you need that extra help, then we are here to help you. And anyone who gets that one-on-one coaching, if you do not get your certification, then you absolutely get 100% of your money back, not only for the coaching, but the course also. So take a look, visit us at www.fastandeasyqbo.com. You can read our hundreds of testimonials from happy customers, not only there, but also on our Facebook page. And I wish you best of success in getting your certification. And that's it. That's everything you ever wanted to know about QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor Certification. I'm Margie Remmers Davis, and if you would like my help, visit us at www.fastandeasyqbo.com. I can't wait to hear your success story.